You're watching your newborn sleep. Their face is peaceful, their breathing is soft, and then, out of nowhere, it happens. The tiniest smile, a little twitch at the corners of the mouth, sometimes a full, dreamy grin. No one is talking to them, no one is tickling them, their eyes are closed. So why are they smiling? Most people joke, they must be dreaming, or they brush it off as a random reflex. Some parents secretly wonder, do they feel happy? Is this about me? The truth is more interesting than any of those answers. Today, we're going to talk about why your newborn smiles in their sleep, what's happening in their brain and body when they do it, and what those little sleep smiles actually tell you about how deeply they're already wired to connect. Once you understand what's really happening, that smile stops being mysterious and starts being one of the most beautiful things you've ever witnessed. Not all smiles are the same, and sleep smiles are their own category. When adults say smile, we usually mean one thing, a conscious expression of happiness or amusement. For newborns, smiles start out as something much more complex. There are at least 3 different kinds. Reflex smiles, quick, random mouth movements that happen even before birth. Sleep smiles, those fleeting grins during light sleep. Social smiles, the ones that come later, when they're awake and responding to your face. The mistake is lumping them all together and trying to read them like adult expressions. Sleep smiles in the early weeks are not your baby thinking about a joke. They're a window into how their nervous system is maturing and how the circuits for emotion and connection are wiring up long before they can use them on purpose. Sleep smiles are tied to active sleep, when the brain is busiest. Newborn sleep isn't like adult sleep. They spend a lot more time in what's called active sleep, a stage similar to REM sleep in older children and adults. In active sleep, the brain is lit up. You'll see eye movements under the eyelids, tiny twitches in the face and fingers, irregular breathing, and yes, those little smiles. During this stage, the brain is processing sensations, consolidating experiences, and building connections between areas that control emotion, movement, and regulation. A sleep smile is often the visible tip of a huge invisible process. The brain testing the face muscles plus feeling circuits link. Think of it like this. The system is pinging itself. If I activate this pattern here in the brain, does the mouth do this? If I light up this emotional center, what happens in the face? You're not just seeing a random expression, you're watching wiring in progress. 3. Your baby's nervous system is rehearsing emotional expressions before they ever use them on purpose. Think about how many emotions your face has to be able to show in a lifetime. Joy, surprise, sadness, interest, fear, curiosity, and all the tiny shades in between. Your baby can't use that whole emotional palette yet, but the hardware needs to be ready for when the software, language, memory, understanding, catches up. So in sleep, away from the overload of the waking world, their body gets to rehearse. Those little smiles, frowns, grimaces, raised eyebrows you see while they're sleeping? They're practice runs, subconscious drills. The system tying together facial muscles, brain regions that process emotion, and autonomic shifts in heart rate and breathing. Long before they ever smile at you on purpose, their brain has already run that sequence hundreds of times in the safety of sleep. 4. No, they're probably not dreaming about you, but you are in there in another way. We love the idea that a newborn's sleep smile means they're dreaming about their parents. It's a beautiful thought. The truth is, we don't have evidence that very young newborns dream in stories or images the way older children and adults do. Their brains don't yet have the structures and experiences needed to build full narrative dreams. But that doesn't mean you're not part of what's happening. Every day when they're awake, your baby's brain is flooded with sensory impressions linked to you. The sound of your voice, the smell of your skin, the rhythm of your heartbeat when you hold them, the pattern of your face leaning over them. When they sleep, their brain is sorting, filing, and strengthening those associations, deciding what matters enough to keep. So, while they may not be thinking about you in words or pictures, the networks that represent safety, warmth, and care, networks that are being built largely through you, are very much active. You are the raw material their brain organizing. Sleep is when that organization happens. 5. Sleep smiles are also linked to the development of feel-good chemistry in the brain. There's a reason we associate smiles with pleasure. In adults, genuine smiles often correlate with the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine and endorphins. In newborns, the system that connects internal good feeling with external expression is just coming online. Some researchers believe those early sleep smiles are one of the ways the brain practices linking internal states with outward signals. Even if your baby isn't consciously happy the way an adult is, their body might be experiencing small waves of comfort or relief. A full belly, warmth, the familiar smell of their caregiver nearby, and the smile is part of how the system encodes. This configuration of internal signals goes with this pattern of facial muscles. Over time, as they wake up and interact more, that internal map becomes what we read as joy on their face. 6. How sleep smiles prepare the way for the first real social smile. Parents wait for one milestone more than almost any other. The first real smile meant for you. That moment, when your baby is awake, looks at your face, and suddenly lights up, feels like a door opening. Those real smiles usually show up around 6 to 8 weeks for many babies, sometimes a bit earlier or later. Here's the part we often overlook. Sleep smiles are part of the groundwork. Because the muscles have already been rehearsing in low-stakes conditions, because the brain has already run the feel-to-face connection countless times in sleep, when your baby finally has enough visual clarity, social awareness, and energy to try it while awake, the pathway is already there. The first time they smile at you while you're talking to them, you're seeing the meeting point of weeks of invisible practice in sleep, days of watching your face, and the tiny moment where their internal "this feels good" maps onto "I can show this to you." 7. What you should actually do when you catch your newborn smiling in their sleep. First, you don't need to wake them up to enjoy it. Let them sleep. The work their brain is doing in that little smile is important. Take a photo if you want to. Whisper something soft, but let the rehearsal continue. Second, you can still respond, even if they don't know it yet. If you feel an urge to say, "Oh, look at you," or "You're so peaceful right now," that's not silly. You're building your side of the attachment story. Your baby may not remember your words, but they will grow up in the emotional climate your words create. Third, don't pressure yourself to make them smile on command. In the early weeks, smiles are on the brain's schedule, not yours. You don't have to perform to coax them out. They will come, first in sleep, then in drowsy, wakeful moments, then more and more in clear social interaction. Finally, let sleep smiles reassure you that things are moving, even when you feel stuck. On the hard days, when they cry a lot, when you're tired, when you feel like you're not doing enough, those tiny, unplanned sleep smiles are a reminder. Your baby's brain is not frozen at your worst moment. It is growing, practicing, connecting, building the tools it needs to one day look straight at you and beam. You don't have to make that happen. You just have to keep showing up so that when the system is ready, you're the face it chooses. So the next time your newborn smiles in their sleep, don't just think cute reflex. Think, this is the rehearsal for every joyful moment we're going to have later. And if you want to understand more of these invisible rehearsals, from strange movements to sudden sounds to why they stare at the ceiling like that, subscribe. There's a whole universe of development happening while they sleep, and once you see it, you'll never look at a simple nap the same way again.